Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. Here are the Big Five, the top teams in the country as we begin the season. The Duke Blue Devils come in as the #1 ranked team, followed by Kansas, Memphis, Georgetown, and North Carolina. Clark, what's your take of the teams that make up the top five?
These are some outstanding teams, Greg. Fun to watch. Not many weaknesses. They do so many things well on the basketball court. It's not surprising to see them in the top five. Every time these teams take the floor, you're assured of seeing entertaining basketball.
Duke is in the catbird seat to start the season, sitting pretty in the #1 spot. They're playing in one of the toughest conferences in the nation. How should that affect them, Clark?
Their regular season is going to be a melee with all the other tough teams in the conference. The key for them to survive is going to be consistency. They can't afford to drop any easy games.
Kansas is in the #2 spot. Their total of 33 wins last season was remarkable.
Matching that record is going to be a challenge, but they simply got to forget about the past and get to the business of winning games right here, right now.
Memphis comes in as #3. They had a nice finish to the year, but it ended with a disappointing loss in the regional final.
They were so close to the Final Four they could taste it. And the memory of that Elite Eight loss should be all the motivation they need this year to work just that little bit harder. We'll see if they can get over the hump this time.
Georgetown starts the year as the 4th-ranked team. Everything with them starts with the men at the top, the coaches, and that's a pretty good place to start.
This coaching staff is really highly respected. They always squeeze every drop of talent out of their squad, and I'll bet they do it again this year. I don't know if they'll overachieve necessarily, but they'll definitely live up to their potential.
North Carolina is the #5 team. The experts are having a hard time classifying this team because they have such versatile players.
What I think will be one of their strengths is their ability to adapt to their opponent's style of play. They'll be able to come at you in a lot of different ways, and I think the coaching staff is going to take full advantage of that chameleon style.
Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. What do you think of this group, Clark?
We've seen so many eventual champions that were ranked in the middle of the pack during preseason that these teams have to like their chances. It's not where you start, it's where you finish that counts.
The Kentucky Wildcats, the #6 team, have stirred up a lot of talk in the offseason. They had a terrific record last season, finishing with 22 wins.
That 20-win plateau is one of those benchmarks in college hoops that immediately classifies you as an elite team. So they're going to have a tough act to follow. But if they simply play to their potential, they can reach that mark again.
The Arizona Wildcats, the #14 team, have also generated a lot of interest. Their dreams of tournament glory last year were quickly dashed in a first-round loss.
This year they have the potential to do much better than last. Last season they spent a lot of their energy getting to March Madness and were worn out once they got there. I'll bet they handled the journey to the tournament much better this time.
Okay, Clark, let's take a look at the teams that close out the preseason top 25 poll. How about this list?
This is a year, Greg, where I think a few of the teams on this end of the poll really stand out above the others. There are a handful of these teams that are potential sleeping giants.
The Ohio State Buckeyes, the #20 team, could be one to watch. They're ranked where they are because it's almost impossible to find anything wrong with this team.
Nearly every team has an Achilles heel or a weakness, but this team is so well balanced, they're going to be a tough matchup for anybody.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs, the #25 team, are also worth keeping an eye on. This mid-major team receives a pretty high ranking from the pollsters heading into the season.
We've seen a lot of non-power conference teams begin the season in the poll and then take a quick drop when the going gets tough. And I think the athleticism and balance of this team will allow them to stay right where they are.
We've come to the part of the show when we look at the top players in the nation and unveil the list of our preseason All-Americans. There before you are the 5 first-team All-Americans as we begin the season, and what a list it is. What's your take on the first-teamer at the top of the list, Clark?
Davis is a force to be reckoned with, Greg. He exploits every opponent weakness and then uses his skill to dominate games. No matter what, he'll find a way to get the job done and lead his team to victory.
As for our next first-teamer, Duke is more than willing to go into battle with him, Clark.
Matt really is an elite talent. That's a given.
There's plenty to like about him as a player. He's got that deadly combination of smarts and physical skills that makes him so difficult to defend. A coach's mentality in the body of a world-class athlete. Any questions as to why he's on the list?
Next up is a player that's drawing comparisons to some of the all-time college greats. The Duke Blue Devils are fortunate to have him in their corner.
Matt is a first-teamer without a doubt. He has such versatility. He can take it and rake it, get down the court with the ball and make plays. He'll be a nearly impossible matchup for their opponents.
Let's move on to a player who's worked very hard to earn his spot on the list. The Kentucky Wildcats can depend on a solid effort from him each and every night.
Number 21 is the anchor of his team, and if they're going to the promised land, he's the one that's going to lead them there. We always talk about the guys with great hands. Well, he's got great feet. I love those happy feet. There are few players in the nation with better footwork than him, and that's what allows him to always be in the right position, whether it comes to rebounding or finding space for an open shot.
And finally, we have another superb player to round out the first team, the Georgetown Hoya. We'll probably get used to seeing him make the impossible look ordinary.
Mac already has opposing coaches drawing up game plans designed to stop him, but it won't matter what they come up with. Give him too much room and he'll burn you off the dribble. Or play him tight and watch him find a teammate for an easy hoop. One way or the other, he's unstoppable.
As we move to the second team All-Americans, we can see there's no shortage of talent with this group. They're all elite players with the potential to dominate the game. The Memphis Tigers have built their team around this young man's talent, and I'd say that's a pretty good idea.
Mac was a very hard player to leave off the first team. If I had to pick some front runners for the Player of the Year award, he would be right there on the list. I've seen him take over games even when he isn't scoring 30. There are some great scorers among these All-Americans, and he's one of them, but he does much more than score.
The next player on the team is a sensational player in his own right. Kentucky is in for a great year if he lives up to his potential.
Davis is someone you could look at as last season progressed and see his improvement on a weekly basis. I have no doubt he belongs on this All-American team, and I think the sky's the limit for him this season.
We can expect to see some amazing performances out of him all year long. The UCLA Bruins hope to have this young man carry the load for them, and he looks up to the task.
Goodson has terrific skill in so many facets of the game. It isn't out of the realm of possibility to say that he might even be a little bit underrated. I know it seems far-fetched to say that about a preseason All-American pick, but I'm not sure people realize just what a huge year he's in for, Greg.
Our next All-American may have designs on the first team by the end of the season. Duke has one of the most reliable go-to guys in the country in him.
Mac was one of the first players that came to mind when I was thinking of the top 10 players in the nation. The success of his team rests directly on his shoulders, and I believe he has the ability to take them all the way to the title.
Here is the final player to cap off our list of All-Americans, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Know who their fan favorite is going to be this year?
Carter is last but not least on the All-American list. His upside is higher than a lot of the other guys here because he has so much raw ability. He could jump to the first team this year if he harnesses all that ability into the complete package.
All right, Clark, that about wraps things up. On behalf of State Farm and the crew, I'd like to thank you again for joining us on the 2K Sports Season Preview. We'll see you during the season. So long, everyone.
Yes, sir. This is the GOATED Legacy Series. I hope y'all enjoyed that season preview. I hope NBA 2K21 took notes. 2K22 took notes because we need a show like that. And let's just talk about a little bit of previews before the next episode. The first game of the season, we got Duke and Kentucky, the number 1 Duke Blue Devils, led by Reggie Mack, Coach John Shire, Troy Mack there, Jabari Mack. They got a whole stacked roster. That's why they number 1. The number 2 team is Kansas. They got another stacked roster. Some of the prospects they got, Eddie Houston, Jalil Iverson, Stretch Robinson. They also got a couple other good guards on their roster. And also up there, we got Memphis, Georgetown, led by Rich Mack. He trying to bring that program back. So that's going to be a good, exciting storyline to watch. And just like overall, there's so much stacked teams. Like there's a lot of good-ass teams that didn't even get ranked. Michigan wasn't ranked. We got Gonzaga's only 25th in the nation. Like so much other stuff. Kentucky also got a good-ass team. And I just can't wait to get this started. So I'm going to need y'all to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because next video we got Duke and Kentucky, the rivalry. Duke is going to erupt for the first time, I believe, possibly ever. And if it's not ever, that shit probably happened in the 1900s, nigga. So that's going to be a real good game. The Blue Buzz is going at it first game of the season. I'm going to need y'all to tune in because, you know, when I put out a video gameplay, that shit is going to be jumping, nigga. It's your boy, Reg Dollar. I'm going to need y'all to hit the subscribe button. Like I said, hit the like button, and I'm out of here. Yes, sir.